So the other day I published a video about Nahre Sol's publication or video that she released on the Chopin's Etude Opus 10 number 3 was the main piece of her video, but the content, the overall subject, I would say, was how to find a kind of quote-unquote correct tempo to honor the composer's intent. And she did her best to take the subject into an objective field where feelings should be excluded from the process of judging or to determining the determination of the correct tempo. At the end, she ended up with just playing according to her feelings, and that was the main point of my video. I'm going to bring another fragment of Nahre Sol where she talks about injuries during her time or just what she saw in her time at Julliard.
It can very easily lead to injuries, especially if you're not minding your form and practice methods. I saw many students and teachers suffer all kinds of injuries, including carpal tunnel, tendinitis, repetitive stress injury, hearing loss, and also a major part of this were mental health issues. These things are all connected. So it's best to be mindful of this balance.
It's for me mind-blowing that a young musician like her, from her time in Julliard, has seen both students and teachers suffering from, and I made a screenshot, I mean, it's just mind-blowing, carpal tunnel, tendinitis, trigger finger, muscle strains, focal dystonia, stress, anxiety, depression. That shouldn't be the case. And nobody says, like, do we have a problem actually? Is it normal that we are having all these issues here at school? I mean, if you have seen all of that misery at that age, students are young, have young human bodies. You shouldn't have those injuries. Carpal tunnel syndrome, I mean, that's terrible. Tendinitis, trigger finger. Don't even know what it is. I can imagine that it's just a physical reaction of your overpowering your system. Muscle strain, focal dystonia, that's terrible stuff, huh? And then stress, anxiety, exactly the things that Barbara Lister was talking about. And nobody in this system says, like, shouldn't we give an option? Like, if you want to go in that direction, that's the door to enter that part of the conservatory. But if you want to stay a healthy person, you go that door. And then you will end up having your degree, full degree. Like, here's your diploma as a professional musician. And the people entering the left door, that's up to them. They're going to practice like 50 hours a day because they want to go after this 19th century evolved way of musicianship. Show more virtuosity. Play the inventions as fast as you can because everything is a study, and I want to show because that I can play very fast. I wanted to say something about it, but I'm not going to say that. And nobody in the system thinks it just doesn't make any sense. What are we going after? And don't quote me wrong. I'm not saying that Nahre Sol here is making the wrong points. My take here is just for me to be very surprised that if you are in a conservatory with people of an age between 18 and let's say 24 years, 25. I mean, these days people study until they are 40 sometimes. I mean, it's unbelievable. There's something wrong with our time, guys. But anyways, that age, seeing, and she said, I've seen it with many students and teachers. So it's a general thing there. You enter a conservatory, what would parents think? My son or daughter wants to study music in a conservatory. I should panic. I would panic like, holy shit, when my daughters are going to a conservatory, meaning that means they're going to get anxiety, stress, carpal tunnel syndrome, tendinitis, all of these things. I would just accept it, because if you don't accept it, you're not a professional musician, and all in the name of the composer. Where do you see the trigger to motivate people to practice so much on that Chopin etude or Beethoven sonata if it wasn't for this fake idea that those people actually meant their compositions to be played like that? Who is going to destroy their bodies for something if you realize that one day it's just fake. And don't say to me it's an opinion. That's not an opinion. If it were an opinion, then you have to prove to me where all these single beat performances are. Point being again is, guys, that in this world where your son or daughter enters a conservatory, you know by certainty that when he or she comes out there with her diploma, she will have some kind of major injury, if not having, like Barbara Lister discovered during her research, have like so much stress symptoms and depression that some people even want to end their lives. And who is fixing that? Because this is not a situation that we can accept, right? Again, enter the left door if you want to be in the Lisitsa part. By the way, have you seen my video when I answered Lisitsa when she came on my channel? I saw some interviews. If you see her telling that with a smile, what she had to endure, what she had to undergo during her, it's unbelievable. It made me almost cry. Waking up in the night, some teachers taking her upside down, middle of the night, put at the piano Chopin or Tchaikovsky Piano Concerto 1 and better make no mistake. That's of course an extreme example. But the extremities determine also what's happening in normal practice, and that's what we can see here with just an inside story. But that's what Nahre Sol is doing. She's just giving, and she didn't have the intention for this perspective to be taken, granted. That's what it makes so valuable, this contribution. Who's talking about that? If you feel something here, are you going to your teacher and say like, I should practice a little bit less? Do you do that? She's not talking about it. What happens when you have injuries? It would be interesting. Who is there to say like, yeah, that's okay. I guess today teacher will say, yeah, I'm sorry, then you're not fit for the job. I don't believe that many students are saying that. I don't think so. Because we're all afraid. We're all afraid for our careers. I'm happy my daughters don't play music in this world. I mean, I try to stimulate them, but neither of the two, I don't know. It's probably because their daddy is playing too much. I mean, I play 3 instruments. I should be injured all the time. Guys, we have to fix this. And I don't know if our work is going to be of any influence, but if you listen to this message and you're still here in the video, think about what you can do yourself. We don't have to accept this. It's like a status quo situation. Yeah, it's like that. We don't do it. We don't do anything about it. Our work here, I cannot stress it enough, this reconstruction of what the original intention, the tempo intention, because guys, when we would come to an acceptance of like, okay, when we get it, whole beat was a thing, and Chopin was a whole beat composer, and Beethoven as well, fine, now we have it. And what now? Well, then it starts. This hip 2.0 world, as I would call it, that only starts then. We have to solve accentuation. Have you any idea how many things we need to solve? For instance, accentuation, lengthening notes. I was reading Kwan's the other day again, where he talks literally accentuated notes should be played longer, and the value you give it, you take that from the note that comes after. Guess what? It's exactly the same as Beethoven writes in his Kramer Etudes, of the Kramer Etudes version of his nephew Karl. It's exactly the same as Marshall is in his Opus 70, I believe, Etudes, and the preface writes. But who's doing that in Mozart and Beethoven? I mean, we have so many things to solve. It's so exciting. But once this has been accepted, then conservatories will have to find a way of different teaching. And there's a left door and there's a right door. And I give it like you have to develop a certain technique, but not up to this insane universe where you just, yeah, I've seen a lot of students and teachers with carpal tunnel syndrome, tendonitis, I'm reading from my screen, trigger finger, muscle strain, focal dystonia, mental issues, stress, anxiety, depression. You just write it on the screen as if it is a normal thing. And the only way we can fix it is by accepting the fact that what the composer had in mind is not necessarily, is by definition, I would say, because of logic thinking, not what we claim it is. And so this trigger for teachers and the system to chase, to push you, to whip you up as a student will be disappearing instantly. And the world we will be waking up in, I mean, will be completely different. We would have the ability to really go after the intent of the composer, because guess what? If you were in Julliard like Nahre Sol and so many others, in good schools, good music schools, conservatories, you'll be able to play that in tempo. Suddenly, it will not be easy. You have to figure out your way. It's a different way of music making. You have to study a little bit. You have to experiment. You have to develop a different language. But you will be able to play those metronome marks in the tempi marked by the composer. How cool is that? The point being, many musicians' life will be improved for the better. It's so enjoyable. You put the metronome, you know what you hear, the ticks, are exactly the ticks that Chopin heard or Beethoven heard or any other composer heard. It's magical, eh? And when you are sitting at your piano, and when you sit at your piano doing that, realizing I can actually do that, that's so powerful that for me, it's like, I cannot understand why many more people are actually just openly doing this. It's unbelievable. You take the metronome, you put it on 138, and it's exactly what Beethoven heard. Yes, heard. When he played the Hammerklavier Sonata, he was not completely deaf. Anyways, I thought I will share with you more like these stories, guys, because we have to keep stressing this. And at the end, I don't know where this will lead us, but this is part of our journey here, where the main focus obviously now is on tempo reconstruction. Of course, yeah, we have the clavichord, we have the organ, we have other elements, understanding notation even, but the main point is tempo research, because the reconstruction, certainly metronome reconstruction, because that will lead to all the other things, and also fix this once and for all. And then, why are we doing this? I would be happy to see the day where I open a video of a channel similar to Nahre Sol of a young student of Julliard saying nothing about this. Maybe walking in a field of flowers once in a while, enjoying our lives, practicing 2-3 hours, perhaps, yeah, we'll need that. But do other stuff as well. When I would see that day coming, I would be happy with my life. I'm happy with my life right now. So this is a stupid way of saying. Okay. That was it for today. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Go to Patreon if you want to support this project. And we see each other soon again. Bye.